Good morning, Boston. I'm Josh Trotter.
And I'm Lauren Rutherford. Today on Boston Daily, our correspondent Miranda is coming to you live from the Appomattox Courthouse.
Confederate General Robert Lee surrendered his 28,000 troops to the Union General Grant. All the officers and men were to be pardoned and sent home with their private property. Lee's starving men are to be given Union rations, and Confederate soldiers have to turn in their rifles. Now the war is over. Everyone is on the same side again. There was about 630,000 deaths and over 1 million casualties throughout the whole war. After Lee surrendered, the other armies started to surrender because they knew the war was over. On August 20th, 1866, President Andrew Jackson will sign a document stating that the American Civil War is over and all of America is at peace.
So I sent a message to Grant saying I was willing to surrender. And we met that afternoon at the home of Wilmer McLean in Virginia. Thanks, Miranda. The surrender of General Lee was a huge factor in the ending of the Civil War and the uniting of America.
Yes, it was. Now here's our featured story coming live from Jamie Trotta.
Hello, Boston. I'm here to tell you all about the 54th Massachusetts Regiment. This regiment was an African-American infantry during the Civil War. They were a part of the Union Army and were active March 13, 1863 to August 4, 1865. It contained 1,100 soldiers, and the commander was Robert Gould Shaw. The 54th Massachusetts Regiment was commissioned after the Emancipation Proclamation was passed, and the soldiers were recruited by white abolitionists. Their first battlefield action took place on James Island, South Carolina on July 16th. The soldiers were paid $10 a month, but they refused it. They were part of the Battle of Grimbal's Landing, Second Battle of Fort Wagner, Battle of Olustee, Battle of Honey Hill, and Battle of Boykin's Mill, and a quarter of the volunteers came from slave states in the Caribbean.
Thanks, Jamie. We'll be back to our program after these commercial messages.
Abraham Lincoln is leading us through our Civil War, our bloodiest war, and our greatest moral, constitutional, and political crisis. In doing so, he is preserving the Union, abolishing slavery, strengthening the federal government, and modernizing the economy. Wouldn't you rather be on the winning side? The North overall has more of almost everything. More money, more resources, and more people. We outnumber the Confederacy and provide our soldiers with much more supplies than the Confederacy ever could. You could either die fighting for the Confederates, who only care about their state rights and slaves, or you could live fighting for a more perfect union. The average American can simply support the North in any way, whether it's with money, supplies, or enlisting in the war. If you want to keep the Union together, then supporting us is crucial. Just think what would happen if the United States was no longer a union. All our work during the Revolution will be lost.
I'm Abraham Lincoln, and I approve this message. Welcome back to Boston Daily. Here's an interview with Robert Gould Shaw.
Hi, I'm Lauren Rutherford from Boston Daily.
Hi, Lauren.
What's your name?
I'm Robert Gould Shaw from the 54th Regiment of the Union Army.
Reports have shown that you were born into a family of abolitionists and had vast wealth passed down to you.
Yeah, my mother and father both worked very hard during my childhood and still now to abolish slavery and stand up for what they believe in. And yes, my uncle passed away some time ago, and I came into vast wealth and actually attended Harvard University.
That's nice. So, what military experience have you had in the past?
Well, initially I joined the 7th New York Militia and marched on the defense of Washington, D.C., and that's where I first really got into the Union Army. Later, I joined the 2nd Massachusetts Infantry as a lieutenant and fought in the battles of Winchester and the battles of Antietam and Cedar Mountain, where in Antietam I unfortunately received shrapnel from a cannonball and had to leave early on doctor's orders.
So I heard that your father approached you to command the 1st Black Regiment.
Yeah, I was at a camp at one point in time, and my father came up to me and talked about the idea of leading this 1st regiment of all black soldiers. At first, I was kind of timid because of the blowback and everything else that would come along with it, but upon further thought, I decided that it would be good for the Union Army and just for the good of the war, and I decided yes to take command of the 54th Massachusetts Regiment.
So, can you give us any details about the Civil War?
Well, I can't go too in-depth about further missions, but I can say that we do have an assignment coming up that will be taking us to South Carolina to take the fight to the Confederates and hopefully come out victorious.